Okay, everyone. Well, welcome. Today we have Stay Tiny Texas. We have Sam and Jake Gervas. They are brothers. And we're really excited to talk about kind of what Stay Tiny Texas is and kind of what y'all's plans for the future are here in the Austin area. But first of all, Sam, I want to congratulate you. You just recently got married.
I did. Thank you very much. Appreciate
of course. Where did y'all get married here in Austin?
Springdale Station. So it's a cool venue over on Airport in Springdale.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of rustic. It used to be a train station for like an eccentric millionaire based in Austin. And now it's just a really cool event space.
Oh, that's awesome. And you've been married how long? Like
1 month.
Oh
just
my
over a month.
goodness. Oh, that's so fun. And where did y'all buy a house or y'all?
So we were already living together. So I bought my house over in East Austin in 2017.
Okay. Literally 4 minutes from the venue. Like you could have walked home after the reception.
Yeah.
I got lucky. I feel like that whole area, like Central Machine Works, Donata, that whole area is like really blown up in terms of the industrial brewery vibes. And we're not quite walkable to anything just yet, but we're very bikeable. So
that's
fingers crossed it continues to grow that way.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, congrats to you both. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your history, like your background? You work for the city council, and why don't you tell us exactly what you do and where your, expertise lies?
Absolutely. So I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I've had a few different careers. I started in banking, so my background's in numbers. I then somehow moved down to Austin. I had a quarter life crisis sabbatical, and I'm like, where do I want to set down?
Y'all are from Iowa, right?
Born and raised in Davenport, Iowa. So
yes,
Quad Cities.
So very different.
Very different. I feel like there actually is a surprising amount of Iowans in Austin.
Yeah.
It's similar cultural values.
Okay,
but
that's cool.
Austin's got more going on than Davenport.
I love it.
Yeah, so I've been here for, I guess, just over 8 years now.
Okay.
It's home. I feel like we love it. I was originally doing nonprofit work, and then Jake and I started our tiny home business, which we'll talk more about. And then kind of by coincidence, I ended up working for Mayor Pro Tem Leslie Poole. So she's the council member over District 7.
Yep.
And mostly focused on like land use and housing. So it's an exciting time to be in that area.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of stagnancy over the last 40 years, and things are finally moving. So it's been an exciting about a year, just short of a year now.
Well, and that's clearly a great background to have, especially with what you guys do with Stay Tiny Texas. That's awesome. Okay, so Jake, let's talk a little bit about you and your background. You and your wife, Haley, got married a couple years ago, correct?
2020, yeah. We
COVID.
had two weddings.
Yeah.
So we got the small intimate wedding during COVID in July of 2020. And then the following year, we were already married. We did the whole thing, the church, the reception.
Best of both worlds,
It was awesome. It was a huge blessing in disguise. So.
I don't remember any. I mean, it was so many people when I got married. Of course, I got married like very young at 24, but still, I had like right out of college, I had 12 bridesmaids. But all that to say is I wish I would have had two weddings where you had like the intimate one. You could have really just embraced that moment, and then the fun party, enjoy yourself. So
20 people to 500 people.
Yeah.
A bit of a difference.
A bit of a jump. And not many people get to say they got married twice, but to the same person.
Yeah.
So I got that.
That is very cool.
I got that in my
And
pocket.
your childhood like sweetheart pretty much, right?
Yeah, so we started dating in high school, but I showed you last week, we've got like a picture of us kissing on a porch as like 2-year-olds.
Yes.
So
yes.
Some would say it was meant to be, but yeah, we've been together a long time, and now we've got a 16-month-old daughter, Ellis, and another on the way actually. So
That's awesome. I feel like you're a unicorn in that aspect to be able to marry your childhood sweetheart,
Yeah. Well, I will just quickly say that Jake did get a bloody nose on the second wedding. So Haley almost walked down the aisle, and Jake would not have been staying there. Thank God they got married the year before.
Goodness. Yeah.
But
I
had to run out of the church because of a bloody nose when I was walking my mother-in-law down the aisle. It's actually like a TikTok that went like viral because I book out of the church.
It's like runaway groom.
But everybody's everyone knows we're already married, so it wasn't as crazy. But then like all my groomsmen came down, and then Sam had to like run back up the aisle to stop Haley because I was in the bathroom.
Oh my! Do you get them a lot?
No, it was just really bad timing.
Maybe stress or nervousness.
It was a hell of a day, but
oh my gosh,
good story now.
That's really fun. And so your background lies is you were a pro football player. You played in college.
Yep.
And clearly Haley as well. She played basketball.
Yep.
And then you played in the NFL for the Rams, correct?
Correct. Yeah. For 4 years. Yeah. I went to school. Didn't have any scholarship offers, so I walked on to the University of Iowa. Ended up being a great, adventure for 5 years. Had like aspirations and dreams of playing the NFL, but I knew just with my, God-given talent, it was kind of going to be a long shot, but figured I'd try, do Pro Day, which is like a series of workouts for NFL teams and scouts. Just do that more for fun than anything because I got to hang out and work out with my buddies leading up to that. And then I was going to get into med sales. That was my plan, was to do medical device sales. Ended up getting a tryout with the LA Rams and somehow, some way turned it into a 4-year career with them. So
that's amazing. Well, hard work. I mean, I feel like in today's day and age, and especially here in Texas, I mean, we all know sports is life, right? And football in Texas is like life.
It's a different ballgame.
I'm already seeing it with my son. He's 5, like just newly turned 5. And at that age, it's like already the teams are stacked and you're going, wait, we're 4 and 5 years old. I can't even believe this. But I think that's also probably pretty inspirational because there's nothing that hard work can't get you, right? And you worked really hard. You had the grit. I mean, I know you said that, especially in your bio about how much you worked, and you worked really hard and you ended up making it. So I feel like that's a good lesson to everyone out there that, clearly you have talent, right? But I think hard work is important.
I think he's also a great teammate. I think Jake helps out and raises up those around him.
Yeah.
And I think that even at the NFL level, people recognize that.
Well, and I think that's probably a great business relationship. I know y'all are brothers, right? But I feel like when you work with anyone, whether it is family, which sometimes that can even be harder, believe me. I mean,
definitely.
Especially here at Angle and Volkers,
it's a
work with my
affair.
whole family, right? But I also think sometimes it can make the best relationships. But also being a good teammate, I feel like is important, especially with what you guys do with Stay Tiny Texas. I thought this was so interesting. I did a career day talk at my daughter's school, elementary school. 210 third graders.
Wonderful.
All know about Angle and Volkers real estate.
You
know,
they might even be. Day before
I
too.
really was.
Brand awareness.
Why do these tiny little humans make me so nervous? But I did have a few kids tell me that their parents were going to call me, so we'll see. But we were talking about marketing and homes and et cetera. And interesting enough, they were learning about tiny homes. They were learning about pretty much ADUs, which is so interesting at the 3rd grade level that they're already learning about this type of build process in the classroom. And we saw such an increase in ADUs in tiny homes during COVID, right? People needed space and people started to look outward, right? How can we do this? How can we do this and not break the bank? Yep. And so that is essentially what Stay Tiny Texas is. So why don't you, Sam, give us just your little elevator pitch about what Stay Tiny is, which by the way is such a great name. Stay Tiny Texas is.
Yeah, I'd love to. So during COVID, life was a little funky or a little bizarre. I actually was fortunate to have a pretty wonderful COVID. I feel like Austin was a great place. We could still have the outdoors. I was working remote at the time, so it was in a way, it was nice to take a step back and have a little bit of space. I was probably spent more time at home during that period than I had spent in the 5 previous years I lived in my house. And it had always been kind of a dream of mine to build a little back house, right? So whether it's for guests, for potentially Airbnb, just having that flexibility. And so I started on this little process. So, learned all the ins and outs. And I will say it's no easy undertaking. There's a lot of steps. And we all know Austin doesn't exactly make it easy to do, just in terms of their permits and their reviews and the million hoops you have to jump through. So we built a tiny home in my backyard during 2020.
Don't say we.
Sorry,
You left me hanging. I wanted in on this first tiny home.
I didn't need his money.
And
We
he-
didn't even live here at that point.
I didn't live here yet. He left me hanging. So you built the tiny home.
And it was entirely the right decition.
Continue.
So
There you go, brothers, right there. I
thank
love
you
the
so
banter.
much for keeping me honest.
Oh, that's great.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Never, ever.
So after that, I started renting out my tiny home on Airbnb at the time, and it was proving to be, a really great situation. I was working at a nonprofit at that time, and it kind of gave me that financial flexibility just to live in Austin. We know Austin is becoming more and more expensive, and at that time, I was like, there's something here. And Jake kind of kept being like, what are we going to do here? There's something here. So I will give Jake the credit that he's due in terms of he was very persistent. He was going and playing catch with the ball and doing all sorts of
his hard work,
sporty
his
things.
determination, right? He brought his work ethic from football to stay tiny.
My
Texas.
biggest thing was I knew at some point football was going to be over.
Right.
Whether I was going to be with the Rams for 1 year or 4 years, whatever it was, I knew at some point it was going to be over. And Sam was slightly bragging about how well this tiny home was doing. So my plan was let's grow this. Let's do something. And it's both of us, and we both saw the vision, but he was bragging about how well it was doing, and he left me hanging on it. So I'm like, there's a good chance Haley and I want to move out of Iowa. Let's find a way to scale this awesome thing that you did as a team.
Yeah.
Essentially.
No, that's awesome. Well, and I think it's so great because a lot of people who come out of the NFL and have to figure out what their career path is have a really hard time figuring it out. And I mean, that's such a blessing that this just kind of happened. And of course, it's been so successful, and clearly y'all are doing it right. So anyway, I think that's awesome. But you keep telling me about your first build.
We learned along the way.
Yeah.
So every time's gotten a little bit better. So
Well, can you clarify real quick? The first one you did, what did you do with it? You said it was going really well. What about it was going really well?
so we were just renting it out.
You just to like Airbnb'd it, or
Primarily Airbnb. We actually
Yeah.
don't Airbnb mine anymore, just because, to be honest, we have a dog and there's just a lot of moving parts. That's kind of the beauty of the flexibility related to a tiny home, is that
Yeah.
you have that opportunity to, you're not breaking the bank, like you said, by building it, and you can kind of repurpose it at different times based off of what you need at that point in time. And that's, again, proven to be really valuable for us. And then also, again, for the homeowners that we've worked with.
Well, yeah. And I mean, so many times people are like, man, I just wish I had built an extra room for a workout area, or
Yep.
I really need an extra office because now, work from home is so big. You have the husband and the wife now working from home, or, partners working from home, whatever it is. And to add on to an existing structure is so expensive and so disruptive, right? So the ability to do something like that in your back, I mean, and for the price, it's just, I feel like it's a no-brainer.
And I think a big part too right now is that Austin's land is so damn expensive. So to buy the land is 3/4 of the battle. You already own the land. Now, how can you make the best use of that?
Right.
And that's what I think is beautiful, is that, whether it's housing a multi-generational household, or whether it's, again, you need that office because you both work from home, but you just had your
Right.
third kid and you don't have that extra office room in your house anymore. That's, again, what's nice about the flexibility that we have really seen with our tiny home business, and then I think is a growing national trend. People want less space. It's less maintenance. It's less upkeep, and less
minimalist
Yeah.
living with less crap in your home you got to deal
Right,
with.
right. And what's so unique about you guys and makes y'all different is y'all have a really innovative approach, correct?
So we kind of were thinking through how do we want to grow this, right? And I think for me, my background again is in finance, and I'm like, there's a way where we want to kind of maintain more of that ownership, where we truly enter into a more of a partnership as opposed to a transactional deal. So what's really cool, what we've done is that we fund, we build, and then we manage the tiny home as a rental. And what's been fantastic about that is that we own the structure and then we lease or we rent the dirt from the homeowner.
Oh, okay. That's very different.
So it's pretty unique. It's definitely kind of outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
It has proven to be it's proven quite successful for us. I think that we're kind of now dabbling. We've just built and sold a few. Again, we've built and held a few. And now it's kind of figuring out like, what is that long-term vision? And we have some thoughts. We have some strategy sessions that we're actually going to really do a deep dive when we go back to Iowa in June. But I think we're in a really good place, and we've kind of been very, I would say, like reactive thus far, where
Right.
we've been learning as we go. We're actually taking about a month break before we start our next build to be like, how do we want to grow intentionally with the right processes, avoiding any type of hiccup, and just kind of really optimizing that experience. We now have that foundation that we've built that's really strong, and making sure that we're positioned to like not only deliver an excellent product, but help address the fact that this is a real need. Folks want that space. They want it at an affordable price. That's not a $250,000 ADU. That doesn't pencil for your everyday homeowner.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that come into play that we really want to help solve that problem.
Right. So tell me your range of size that you build for y'all's tiny homes, the smallest to the biggest that y'all have built.
You take this one, Jake.
Yeah, so the smallest we've done is roughly 250 square feet. That includes a full kitchen, full bathroom, smaller living area with a lofted bedroom. And then we just finished an ADU that was 550.
I think like 590.
590, so close to 600 square feet. And that's a fully custom build, 2 bedrooms, large kitchen, large living area. So we've got different designs, different floor plans.
And what is your biggest build? Let's say almost 600 square feet. Just give me a price range of what that would cost someone. You can give us a range. Either one of y'all can answer
It
that
really
one.
depends where it's at, because partially the city of Austin is very difficult. So we've
Right.
built outside of the city that has made things
Much
it's much easier.
Yeah.
So generally, like our cheapest, our most affordable product is right around 100,000, and then we've built all the way up to 180,000. So that's kind of the range of where we've been. We're
Yeah.
still 70K below the average.
Right.
Yeah.
Still really great.
But we have some flexibility there based off of the finish.
So
house.
if someone was like, I want to build a tiny home office in my backyard, what would they need for you to, because I know you'll build it off site, which I guess you can kind of talk about that process of how it's built, and go and tell me what would somebody need at their home in order for y'all to set it up, hook it up, kind of connect everything, because majority of people are gonna say, I want AC.
Yep. So the big kicker in Austin is if it has a bathroom or not.
Okay.
So if you have a plumbing, you are considered a dwelling unit. If you are a home office, a home gym, that's considered an accessory unit. So it's a less complex process.
Right.
So again, we have experience with both. So it really depends on, again, what the purpose of it is to
Right.
meet the needs of that
So let's just say
homeowner.
for, just keep it simple, just a home office with like an AC unit.
It's easy. That's just the electric. Again, it's you can build off site, you can bring it on, and then basically you just have there's no building permit for that.
Right.
There's only a electrical permit. So you could frame it out, bring it, deliver it. So we do build our tiny homes primarily on chassis, so on trailer. Again, we've done traditional foundations and pier and beam as well. But the beauty of that is, like, let's say you move, it's on a trailer. You can actually move
take
it.
it.
You can take
So
it
when
with
you put it in someone's backyard, it's not put into concrete, like a concrete slab in the ground that would affect impervious cover. It's just sits on the ground.
We've done both.
We've done
Yeah.
both options.
So
Okay.
it depends again on where it is, because we have built outside Austin. It depends how big it is, and it depends whether it has plumbing. Those are kind of the three big factors.
Or it's like outside Austin, if it's on septic, sometimes depending on the size of the site. Yeah.
So the one we just one of the ones we just sold, we built in South Austin, took it northeast of Austin. It was unincorporated. It's on a trailer foundation. You set up basically concrete blocks and get it anchored and tied down. And then we drop it off. They own the structure and we're out of there. So we've got different avenues that Stay Tiny Texas.
So
can
then
bring
it's
to the
up
table.
to the person who purchased or the homeowner to hook up the electricity.
Generally, yes. So partially because different places have slightly different
Right.
regulations. We do have a good electrician that we can
Yeah, I
recommend.
was saying, do y'all like, hey, this is someone you can.
We can. It depends where it is, because some
Mm-hmm.
of them, like that one that Jake just mentioned, is an hour and a half towards College Station.
Right.
We just built one in Bernie, Texas, or delivered one to Bernie, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually, the one that we built kind of out near College Station, we actually did it off grid.
Mm-hmm.
So Jake the electric is hooked up, but then it's a composting toilet and then a rainwater collection tank.
A composting toilet.
Oh yeah. It's gotten fancy.
Yeah, they're
Oh
nice.
my
They're expensive
gosh.
too.
Really?
Yeah, so you can.
So you don't need plumbing for
You
that?
don't need a drain. You don't need a septic tank, because it's the composting
okay.
toilet, and then you repurpose your shower water and your sink,
Sink
water
water with the rainwater
to feed the
collection.
irrigation.
Oh my gosh. So like if someone had a septic that was made for only 4 bathrooms,
Mm-hmm.
they could put an ADU on if they had their room with a composting toilet.
Again, it depends on
Right.
the jurisdiction, but you
Right.
can. And what's really cool about
Because
that
if it's
is-
not using the septic, you would think
exactly.
it's fine. It's not putting pressure or stress on it.
Yeah.
Jake wanted to kill me during that process, because I do tend to accept a problem, because I love the problem solving.
Well, yeah, you're a
which-
financial boy.
that's where
You
the
got
fun
that
is.
I
brain.
end
fun
up
is-
being the one having to solve
Yeah,
the
well, because
problem.
you do all the
That's dramatic.
operations,
That's-
right?
Yeah, I'm more of the operation. Sam, we both do a little bit of everything, but he's
Yeah.
a lot more behind the scenes, permitting, inspections, designs, plans, where I'm like the day-to-day general contractor overseeing the build
Right.
process. So
Right.
we make a good team and have a good balance, but there's different roles we each play.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
just for the record, just to make sure it's on the record. So we're not currently building in Austin to avoid any conflict of interest related to my job with the city. So
Yeah.
I've been on leave. Jake has continued to hold down the fort the last 6 months.
Yeah.
But I'll transition back to full-time brother partnership.
Yeah.
Where Jake's like, my back's starting to hurt.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that,
Well, he has a
I
new
started-
baby on the way, so I don't know how much.
And
he
a new
can-
job.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
working-
true. Yeah, he's got to sell some real estate for
selling
me
deals.
too.
I'm wearing
Sam.
khakis now.
Yeah.
Just more
let's just be-
cleats.
let's just be fair. We're bringing the tiny home angle. This is a differentiator
It
for
is,
angles.
you know.
and
I
Volkers.
mean, if they're talking about this in 3rd grade about tiny homes, I'm like, people are. It's totally a value add in the real estate world for sure. I think it's a beautiful partnership, and I think it's a great pairing for Jake in that aspect.
Hey, I'm Brandon Sparks with Nautilus Lending. We're a full-service mortgage lender and brokerage based right here in Austin, Texas, but serving not just Texas, Florida, and Tennessee as well. One of the things we're really, really good at is creative financing, and it doesn't matter whether you're a first-time home buyer or a seasoned investor. We have loan programs to facilitate everything legally possible. You can find out more about us at www.nautilus-lending.com. That's www.nautilus-lending.com.
So let's talk about a little bit of your background, and clearly it's super beneficial when you're building tiny homes because you need to know all these regulations, which is clearly where your brain is like, that's the powerhouse for that.
And I think it's interesting because Austin particularly is so complex in terms of our permitting and our land development code that it's honestly a barrier to entry. Like it's at this point, like that's partially why some of our housing is so expensive, is that it's so damn hard to build. So through my work with the city council, again, I've been focused mostly on land use and housing policy. So there's been some really cool progress over the last 6 months. Do you want me to give you a quick little
Let's.
summary?
I mean, I was going to get into that, but let's talk about it because I think people are going to be super interested in understanding that change because a lot of people in Austin are hesitant to that.
Yeah.
So just to give people a little bit of a background, I kind of like to water it down because not a lot of people like to say, "Oh, I know about this," but they really don't know anything. But it's called the Home Initiative. Is that right?
That's correct. So it kind of was kicked off last summer officially. It's been something that's been in the works for I think a little over a year prior to that.
Yeah.
But I think we're recognizing that Austin's becoming an unaffordable place to live. Like teachers can't afford to live in the damn communities where they teach. 75% of Austin EMS workers live outside of Austin. How can you expect to have firefighters and police officers?
I'll just say this. I live in the city of Bee Cave, and my daughter's elementary school, not this year, but last year, didn't have enough bus drivers to bus the kids to the school. And her school is off a main road called Hamilton Pool.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And
Beautiful.
everyone had to drop off and pick up the kids. And it is a long, you can't walk your kids in. There's no parking. It's not like a big, neighborhood where you can park across the street and walk. It was a nightmare of picking. You had to get there 45 minutes early just to get in line, and you still had to wait 15 minutes until you got your child, and you were probably
because they couldn't actually take the bus.
They couldn't take the bus because there was no bus drivers because of the affordability. So it is a real issue, right? And I mean that is something that has always been an issue, right? And especially with COVID creating these unrealistic pricing. I mean, it was very detrimental to our market. At the time, I think people, especially in the real estate world, were like, this is amazing. We have multiple offers and oh my gosh, people are waiving option, which we're an option state here in Texas, which is important. We give a buyer time to evaluate the property and make sure there's no issues. But I think COVID really did it hit our market really hard in that aspect because of driving the prices up. But one of the biggest things with this home initiative was taking the lot sizes from 5,700 plus, taking it down because that was the minimum size a lot could be in the city of Austin, down to 1,800 square feet, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So now you're going to be able to get an 1,800 square foot lot, put a house, and then another 1,800 square foot lot, put a house.
Yep. So if let's say you have a lot that is the current minimum of 5,750, you can divide that into 3 lots. And again, that means, you can now, because of home phase 1, which allowed you to build up to 3 units by right on any single family lot. Granted, you still have to, like you said, abide by the impervious cover. So that's the amount of building coverage you can have.
Yes. And it's still 45% in Austin. And for people who don't know what impervious cover is, it's basically the footprint of your home, right? Any permanent footprint. So the foundation,
the driveways, the walkways, the patio.
Pavers technically aren't impervious cover because they can be picked up and moved. Like if they're little cut limestone pavers, not concrete pavers, but cut limestone is apparently does not affect impervious cover because you can pick it up and move it.
Which
is interesting, right?
I'm gonna file that away right there.
But so people understand 45% of the square footage of your lot.
Yeah. And I think the reason that's important, right, is that you have places like Houston that flood, right?
Yeah.
So it is important to make sure that we are, as a city, not putting our entire neighborhoods at risk of flooding. We are in the flash flooding alley. That said, there's more efficient ways to deal with, stormwater, and that you're not just automatically taking half of your lot off the table. So that's something that I think will be coming in the next year or so. And I, fingers crossed, hope that comes. Because I think it's really important. Just again, we need more gentle density, as we say. We want people to be able to live on those corridors, those main thoroughways. But we also recognize that people want a yard. They have a dog and they want their own little slice of heaven.
Well, I will say this. I feel like every time people are looking at houses and it has a pool and then this tiny yard, because Austin is such an active community, it is dog haven here, right?
Too many dogs.
So many dogs. Yeah. I mean, you have, anyway, it's just people love their animals here. But it's a big deal to not have a space for your dog, So I was saying real estate, I think 95% need some sort of yard when they're looking at a home. So I still think that's important. But, I would say, what do you think the backlash or the negative talk about this new home initiative has been? Because I know I've heard, people are, and sorry to anybody here who's from California, but people just say, don't California or Texas. Don't start making it look like it's just home after home after home. When you go to California, you look up and the whole hill is homes, you know, which a lot of people have said is so contradictory to Austin because we've always been trying to preserve. We have heritage trees. We preserve the green space that we have. You know, we're trying, you know, this Travis County just, I don't know if y'all heard this, but Travis County just bought like a 1,500 acre ranch and is
I saw
taking it
that.
in and turning it into a park.
Fantastic.
$50 million, right? And these people had been offered by developer after developer after developer to do multifamily homes on it. And they said, no, we're not doing it. So Travis County bucked up and said, nope, we're going to preserve
buy it.
this land and we're going to buy it. So like that was huge, right? But a lot of people feel like it's super contradictory to what, you know, trying to keep Austin and preserving it being, you know, the greenery and not so many homes. But then of course we look at the other end where we need affordability and we need a bus driver.
Yeah.
I mean, for someone who has a small child, I mean, that's, and I work full time, those bus drivers, they are so important because they're taking your child. It's like my heart is out of my body and it's in this car with the bus. And you're like, we need good bus drivers. And if there's no one there, then it's like, what do you do?
So like a crazy stat is that I think it's something along the lines of 70+% of teachers like are actively looking for other jobs. Like who is going to teach our kids,
Yeah.
right? And I think
Yeah.
again, we need to make this a community that everyone can live in.
Right.
And I think there's valid points of like, we want to preserve what makes Austin special. I think there's the more complex piece of that is yes, but we also want to make space for the folks that want to move here, right? I think
Right.
there was a strategy in the 80s. They're like, oh, if we don't build it, people won't come, right?
Right.
That's why we have terrible traffic and don't have good highways, right? Because they're like, oh, let's not
Let's
invest
not
in
future-proof
infrastructure.
our networks here.
No. Let's
Yeah.
not get the cart ahead of the horse.
Yeah,
here.
we're really behind on that. I will say for sure. But you know, I do think it's going to be a really good thing for Austin, and I think we are going to see such increase in basically even be able to create workforce. Right? I think it's going to affect jobs. I mean, what else do you think it's going to impact outside of just creating that? You know, especially for because home, it stands for.
So it's home options for middle income empowerment.
Yes.
So it's not income restricted housing. It's really focused on, you know, that essential workforce, the
Right.
teachers, the nurses, the firefighters, the civic employees that, you know, really are kind of the backbone of our country. Our community.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I think it's going to be so great because companies like y'all's, right, that build tiny homes,
Yep.
have y'all thought about increasing your footprint? Like bigger than 600 square feet in order to, you know, because how big of a home will people be able to get on an 1,800 square foot lot?
That's a complex question.
I know. I know. I just wanted to throw it at you.
Again, if you think about impervious cover,
Mm-hmm.
because of the limitations around driveways, under current parameters, you can get about a 12 to 1,500 square foot home. It would be a 2-story, potentially
Mm-hmm. Yes,
3-story.
go up, yeah.
You got to tuck the carport into the envelope of the building. There's a lot of pieces. The good part is we reduce the setbacks, so we're trying to
Yeah.
make that like. I feel like you walk around Mueller, right? And it's such a wonderful experience because people can sit on their front porch and like, you know, watch the passersby, right?
Yeah.
Where like in most of Austin, the setback is 25 feet. So you're 25 feet from the sidewalk and you can like, hey neighbor, what's going on? But like
Yeah.
it's not quite as that intimate experience.
Well, and some people I will say the setbacks too have always driven me crazy because you think of a house, you think of either kids or dogs. It's like, I want my backyard to be bigger.
100%.
I don't want 25 feet in the front. There's no fence. I don't want my children playing out in the front yard.
and
run into the
if
street.
your front house is further up, it makes it easier for a tiny home or a back house.
Yes. So that was my, segue to the question is, have y'all thought about increasing your footprint? I mean, I don't know if it goes hand in hand, but have y'all thought about increasing your footprint at all?
So I think that that's a complicated question because I think that we just don't want to be another builder, right? I think that
Yeah.
a lot of when we think about how we want to grow, we want to find our smallest niche possible and then do that to the best of our abilities. Where I think over the last 2 years that we've had the business, we've dabbled, right? Like
Right.
we've learned, we've made a few small mistakes, nothing catastrophic, no deaths, we're good.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Like, y'all probably had a learning process
Oh, 100%.
coming from,
Oh, trust me, we've had
Each
plenty.
build has gotten a little bit better, but we've also learned something from each build. Like, just like anybody, any other job, like we're far from perfect, and we've been transparent with the people we've partnered with. Like, hey, we're new to this, we're learning on the process, but like we're at a point now where we feel like we can provide a custom, awesome product, ADU home, tiny home, whatever it looks like, at a very affordable price compared to our competitors that we've kind of looked into.
and y'all aren't compromising on quality,
No,
right?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
I just think some of those competitors just ramp prices up because there's not many options out there, where we're in a good position where I feel like we can give a great quality product at a below market price.
Right.
And part of that is being able to build off site.
Right.
Is that building off site, we have the smaller footprint, which naturally brings the price down.
Right.
And then with the way that the code works for like the international residential code of like those safety and compliance standards, right? Like
Right.
there's some allowances for tiny homes where you can have a ladder to the loft, right? So
Right.
there's certain like kind of, I don't want to say backdoors, but there's certain like exemptions or allowances that make it easier to add meaningful space and dynamic space in a small space.
Yeah. That's
But circling back to your initial question, I think that a larger footprint would be something we will
consider.
Yeah.
But let's master the small footprint first.
Jake,
love
where did you learn? You're essentially like operations, right? Like,
Yep.
what do you call that?
general contractor.
General contractor. So, football in high school,
Yep.
football in college,
Studied finance in college.
pro ball,
Sports management as well. He's got a master's in the sports.
and you're only
management.
29, and you were in the NFL for 4 years.
Yeah.
At what time during all that did you learn to project manage construction?
Baptism by fire, my friend.
Okay, so like these small mistakes you're talking about, that's you just
Yeah, just
brute
learning.
forcing figuring
We've
it
got
out.
a great crew of builders that have been doing it for a long time, and they're really good at a number of things. So just like hanging out with them on the job site, learning. Sam and I talking behind the scenes about like detailing in our plans and our price points and materials and everything. So I think we have learned a lot, but like I want to make it clear, like we did a good job initially.
To be fair, like our main kind of Jake's on site most days, but he's on site like making sure the crew has what they need to do what they need that day. Our kind of head guy's name's Felix and his 3 sons, right? And so it's kind of this little family business, and it's been wonderful. I'd say like they're part of the fam.
family. Well, yeah, I feel like y'all are really good. I mean, just meeting, especially you, Sam, for the first time today, but y'all seem really good at building relationships, right? So I feel like y'all probably did a really good job curating the right relationships with builders and, other partners to create the success you've had.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think that's so important with how like a job goes, is like having a good relationship, not only with your crew, but with whoever you're providing that product for. Because like we've talked about a little bit with me getting into real estate, is like buying a home is a huge life decision. And so is investing in an ADU or investing in a tiny home for a partner we try to work with. So you try to build that strong connection and relationship where it's like, we're going to do everything we can to provide you with an awesome product. If we make mistakes, we're going to learn from them. We've learned from them through the past 12 builds. Each one's getting a little bit better and just continuing to grow. So long story short, I just learned on the job as a general contractor, and it helps
too.
that I'm pretty OCD. Sam's pretty OCD. Like we've got a good detailed checklist of like from foundation to framing to windows, so we've learned
There's
a
a
lot.
code, right? The nail pattern is there, right? Like what the nail pattern has to be. What type of materials you need to have, what the waterproofing
Well, and I'm
requirements
sure, doesn't
are.
it have to pass like
And it goes through all the
inspections?
inspections.
And
Exactly.
we failed a few inspections,
Yeah.
Not fail, just hiccups where it's like, you
Deficiencies
need
that need to be
Yes.
and you corrected the next one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But also inspectors just love to give you a deficiency.
because they want to come back and make more money.
How did you land on building offsite? I've only ever heard of that for manufactured homes and more recently modular homes. And usually for both of those things, we're talking like multi millions of dollars company with a giant indoor factory where their whole business model is buy huge amounts
Yep.
to reduce cost on things and kind of be building the same thing over and over again. And y'all are not buying huge because you're doing small homes, right? And you're more of a newer business. So it seems pretty like
There's this weird in between
Brave.
where you have it's the National Organization of Alternative Housing, so that it's called NOAA, and they are kind of the leader for tiny home certifications. So again, it depends on the jurisdiction, but like that is recognized as it's built according to like the IRC code. There are certain the one thing that's more finicky is the foundation requirements. Those can be a little different again based off of where you are. But yeah, I mean honestly, like Jake has done an excellent job of like rolling up his sleeves, making sure the crew has what they need. And like honestly, I think that's one thing that we both do is like we're not above any work. Like we were doing brutal yard work in like 100-degree weather last summer, and Jake's like, "Why the f are we doing this?" I'm like, "Because we are paying our dues, right?"
Yeah.
And Jake's like, and he did it. He did it. We got it done. But I feel like that's kind of what my goal is to really find that sweet spot of like, how can we do this at like a medium scale where we're not fully scaled to be blunt.
So did y'all plan out finding like a place to build offsite? Was that like intention? Like after you built your first one,
Yeah.
I assume you built yours on site.
I did. Mine was
Your
permitted.
personal one that gave you kind of the idea to keep doing this.
Yeah.
After that, was it like number 2, we're doing it a different way and we've already thought of this, or did that like happen gradually?
More gradually.
Okay.
So we built one that was like did not have a bathroom that was on site, so that's considered an accessory unit. So we've done kind of again each piece was incremental. To be honest, like I think the next step for us is to either become, and I've started the process of what's called we would be through the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. This gets a little nerdy, but you open this can of worms.
I love it.
You can be, it's essentially there's a manufacturer distributor and there's a manufacturer like of a builder effectively. And that would be, it's kind of the state's version of HUD housing. And that would kind of be a more universally recognized NOAA. Cause like we said, NOAA isn't recognized everywhere. But that is, I think that's where we want to go is I mentioned teachers and I still got to get Jake Foley on board here, but we have like a month. We're taking this next month where we have our next project lined up, but like we're really optimizing the processes and the systems in the next month. I'm actually moving to Vail, Colorado for a year. So Jake's got to hold down the fort again.
Oh, that's right. Because your partner, I forget why y'all are moving to Vail.
Yep. So he's finishing his orthopedic surgery residency
Okay.
here. He has a 1-year fellowship in Vail, which is it's tough. It's going to be a tough transition.
Man, I feel
Hiking
so
and biking.
bad for you,
fit. I mean,
man.
Gene.
When do you move this summer? Because I mean, it'll be glorious this summer.
We move in July.
Oh, well, there you go.
So we'll get. I mean, that's what Jake's.
Yeah.
I'm just here to. My back's gonna keep hurting.
It
Tracy.
will.
That's
It
what's
will. You gotta work
happening.
out harder. You just gotta work out harder. It's fine.
We are coming. So and then my partner he got a job back at Texas Orthopedics. So we're coming home. Like this is home. This is
That's
where
great.
we want to keep building. I think we're going to continue to build and sell for the next 12 months. And then what I would love to do is kind of somewhat of this in between of what we did with our original model of it's like a buy and hold, where I want to build housing tiny homes for teachers. So it'd be structured as a ground lease where we'd work with existing homeowners who will have a little passive income. There's a potential for a property tax break. And then we're providing critical housing for folks that like want to live near the schools that they serve in.
And they're so important to, I mean, they're with our kids 5 days a week, 8
And
hours a day.
and we got to keep them like they don't want to commute 45 minutes in from Manor every day, like the quality of life that has like that's what who wants to be a teacher when you're earning, no offense, but you're not earning great money and you have crazy 15-hour days between the commutes and if you coach a sport
Yeah.
That's so
My wife comes from a family of teachers. Her dad,
Mm-hmm.
he's actually retiring this year. He's been a teacher for close to 40 years. My wife, Haley, was a teacher. Now she stays at home with our daughter. But it's hard because it's like Sam said, 70% of teachers are looking for new jobs, right? So it's like we need to find a way, like we talked about earlier, it's just like affordable housing for people who have jobs that like we need as a society to function, especially a job where you're, you know, helping raise someone else's kids essentially. Like
Yeah.
your kids spend more time at school throughout the year than they do at home with you sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like you got to make sure they're around the right people, and we need to find a way to keep good teachers in schools.
And let me just make it clear, like this is, to me, it's like kind of a social impact type of investment, right? So it's like maybe we probably will incorporate it as like a B Corp, where then we can raise funds to actually build 50 tiny homes for 50 teachers. But recognizing that people want to support that type of thing. Like I'm willing to accept a slightly lower return if I can like actually support the Austin community that I serve.
And make a big change for that. That's amazing. And I love that you're so passionate, and that passion, of course, is tying back to your, you know, Stay Tiny Texas. Jake, I wanted to mention really quickly, I know that you have something you're super passionate about that you basically have done for a couple summers. It's a football camp, correct? And it supports a very near and dear cause for pediatric cancer. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Texans probably don't know much about this, but during my junior year of college, our stadium at University of Iowa's Kinnick Stadium, literally right next to it, they built the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. And during my junior year, they started this really cool tradition where at the end of the first quarter of every game, all the fans stand up, the teams like are on the sidelines, and you turn and you wave to all the children up in the hospital that are fighting some type of battle. Like they're in the hospital for some unfortunate reason. And it's a really cool tradition that started, actually a random fan like posted on Facebook and said, "Hey, I've got this idea.
Yeah.
The hospital's gonna be finished before the fall this season in 2017. Like, what if we did this?" And it became like a national story, got a bunch of recognition. It's now one of the best traditions in sports. And during my junior year of football, I had a family friend reach out. They had one of their family friends, their son was diagnosed with pediatric brain cancer. His name was Reed Gleason. And I got the chance to kind of go over to the hospital and meet him during my junior year. Ended up forming a pretty cool bond with him. Reed and his parents, Bill and Megan Gleason. Unfortunately, he passed away in October of 2020 from that cancer. It was a multiple year battle. And we had, you know, every time I was in Iowa City and they were up at the hospital, I tried to visit him and hang out, and just, he was an awesome kid that even though he was going through something so terrible, he always had energy. He always had a smile on his face. Like we'd play soccer and bowling and football in the hallways, and just formed a pretty cool bond with him. And then when he passed away in October 2020, that was actually a time where I wasn't on a football team. I had gotten cut after camp. I was feeling down and sorry for myself, and then he passed away, and that just really like put things in perspective. Like I'm feeling bad because I'm not playing a game where this young boy and this family just, you know, Reed lost, was gone out of nowhere. So following year, it was probably January or February, I kind of just had the idea, like, let's see if we can throw a football camp in Reed's honor, raise some money. Megan, Reed's mom, had just started the Rally for Reed Foundation. In 2021, I was like, you know, let's see if we can throw a football camp together. So that summer, July of 2021, we threw the inaugural Rally for Reed football camp. That year, we had 400 campers, raised $70,000.
Wow.
All for the Rally for Reed Foundation. And then we've done it. This will be our fourth annual Rally for Reed football camp this June 21st, back in Davenport, Iowa.
Come on up.
Yeah.
Coming up in the past 3 years, we've raised close to $250,000 thanks to
incredible.
1,500 campers in 3 years. Awesome sponsors, volunteers. So it's been a great event to not only raise money. The foundation money goes towards, you know, pediatric cancer research and hopefully finding a cure.
So all pediatric cancer, not just brain cancer.
Yes.
Okay.
I know they make donations specifically towards the type of cancer he had, but all pediatric cancer. And then also the Gleasons found themselves in a really hard position, right? So what they do with the money the foundation raises is they'll help families out that are currently going through what they went through, whether it's helping with hotel bills, whether it's gas cards for trips to and back from the hospital, care packages on Christmas. So the foundation does an awesome job of, raising money for the research, but while also making an immediate impact on families who are going through such a hard time and battling some type of sickness at that hospital. So it's a great foundation. The football camp's awesome. This year it's run by myself, and then I have all my former teammates from Iowa, guys who have played in the NFL, guys who are, working 9 to 5. They come back and help me out. It's all my teammates. So it's been great. And it's going to be here before we know it. My last year, Sam got to come back and help out. Him and his partner Chase are coming back this year along with my 2 younger sisters. So it's
Chase can be on the sideline making sure no one hurts themselves.
No, we usually have, the last couple of years, we've had a surgeon I know from Iowa.
You do got to put him to work. Absolutely.
No, he is. So Chase will be, we've only had one. The first year we had two casualties, essentially. A kid broke his arm.
Oh, no.
And another kid got pooped on by a bird. And it got in his eye. So those are the two.
Oh, boy.
Those are the 2 casualties. Besides that, we've been lucky. So it's a great event for an awesome foundation. And it also helps keep Reed's kind of memory and legacy alive while raising money for a great cause.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Have you ever thought about maybe trying to do something similar like that here in Austin?
Yeah, I've talked to Bryce Hager here a little bit, who's an agent here, and we were actually teammates together out in LA for a year. And we've talked about somehow, some way coming together and throwing a football camp here in Austin. So
I think it would be so popular, especially, like I said, Texas football life. That's like a slogan, right?
Well, I'll just plant the seed. I feel like Jake's dream life is Westlake football coach and tiny homes.
Well, but
and real estate.
And real estate.
And
but
real
it
estate.
is it is, first of all, if you can incorporate people's children, right, in something so beneficial, right? Something that's going to help them learn and grow, being taught by former NFL players, but also supporting such an incredible cause. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And of course, sponsored by Stay Tiny Texas, right?
And England Volkers. You betcha.
I love it. I love it.
So that could be something coming in
Yeah.
the future. We got potential plans. So
I think that would be awesome. Everyone here in Austin, you hear that? Let's try to petition for a football camp here run by Jake and Bryce.
you betcha.
Well, you guys, this has been so great. I feel like Stay Tiny Texas, y'all's slogan is not everything's tiny what is it? Not
everything's bigger in
Yes,
Texas.
not everything's bigger in Texas. Oh, I totally messed that one up. Oh, dang it. But no, yeah, Stay Tiny Texas. You guys are so impressive. I love how you guys together, I know you're brothers, but y'all are super transparent. And I think that you guys have created an incredible product. Hopefully people will go out and take a look at y'all's website, which is staytinytexas.com.
StayTinyTX.com.
StayTinyTX.com.
Don't judge me by the photo on there. Sam needs to change that.
I think
it's a football photo that needs to be changed.
We'll get your new.
I'll put my new
photo
England
up there.
Volkers headshot on
Yes.
there. It's
We
much more
definitely-
official.
Yes.
We'll update the website before this podcast
Yes,
goes
with
live.
he got one done with his Super Bowl ring, which I know.
Sam also cleverly left himself off.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
he's technically on leave, so that's why. Because
Okay.
I'm
Oh, yeah,
running the
that's
day to day,
There's
Yes.
a
Operations.
co-founder, but there's no founder or other co-founder.
the tier design on there with my wife too. We got
I love it. No, that's so great. That's great. Well, thank you guys so much, and good luck. Next year in Vail, but also good luck next year here with.
Yep.
Y'all's progress with Stay Tiny Texas. I think it's going to be fantastic. So glad to have you all on.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
so
us.
much.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
thank you.